If nothing changed inside you last year, this year would most probably would be the same. What matters is not when you begin, but whether you begin at all. If your daily actions are not worthy for your limited life, no year would change you. I have also asked you this question. How long? Before anything else, let me speak to you for a moment. I know this feeling. You wake up, check the date, and for a second you remember it's a new year. 2026 has started. And almost immediately, your mind starts to talk. You tell yourself you will be more serious this year, more disciplined, more consistent. You do not make a big deal out of it because you have learned not to. You just think quietly this in your head and just move on with your morning. And somewhere underneath that thought, there's a familiar doubt, just a soft voice at the back of your head saying, I've heard this before. Everyone around you is calling it a fresh start. They mean well. But let me say this gently, as someone who has been there. If nothing changed inside you last year, this year would most probably would be the same. Unless you understand something that I'm going to talk about in this video. You told yourself 2025 would be different. And you meant it when you said it. But it was not. Not because you lacked time, not because you lacked talent, but because you kept wasting your time and kept waiting to feel ready. Most lives are not destroyed through big mistakes. They usually fade away slowly with postponement. And if nothing changes, 2026 won't be any different. That is why I wanted to speak to you first and just remind you of something you already know. Starting of New Year has no divine powers, no magical powers. There is no reset button in nature, nor any cosmic restart. There is no invisible force that make you disciplined. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you could live life right now. Let that determine what you say, do, and think. He wrote these things to keep himself aware of all the things going around him. Death does not wait for a new year. Time does not care about your intention. If change was dependent on dates, everyone would be disciplined by now. But they are not, because improvement does not come from time passing. It comes from action while the time is passing. The Stoics believed this deeply. What matters is not when you begin, but whether you begin at all. Look at David Goggins' property. Before the Navy SEAL, before the books, before the people admired him, he was over 130 kilograms, struggling to breathe, ashamed of his own reflection in the mirror. He worked nights cleaning buildings, scraping cockroaches, alone, exhausted and angry. Nothing changed because a new year arrived. One night he watched a documentary on Navy SEALs. It wasn't any motivational documentary, but it felt humiliating. He saw a man living with a standard he could not even imagine for himself. And then something broke. He realized that if he kept waiting, this was a life he would die in. So he acted, without caring about January 1st or Monday, nor boasting about his goals without even starting. He started running. He could barely move because of his overweight. His body was hurt. His mind was begging him to stop. But he got up and went to run another day. Every step was painful. Every step reminded him how far he has fallen. But interestingly, he refused to wait. While most at that situation would just quit. And wait, before you say he was different, Remember what Marcus Aurelius said: if it's humanly possible, it's attainable by you too. He was a human and you are a human. Difference is not talent. It was that willpower. It was this refusal to wait. It was that what if that motivated him. I learned this myself. At the start of 2024, I was 105 kilograms, undisciplined, comfortable with delay, always planning to start later. I knew what to do, but I just didn't do it. In March, I started out with boxing. I hung the boxing bag in my balcony and bought a pair of gloves. And no, nothing cinematic happened. I was slow, out of breath, and embarrassed. Again and again, and some days I hated it. Some days I wanted to quit, but I stopped negotiating with myself. By December 2024, I had lost 22 kilograms. More importantly, I trust myself again, and in 2025, I scored 96.8 in my boards exam. Nothing magical happened on that date. I just stopped delaying my responsibilities. Epictetus asked a brutal question: how long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself? And I also ask you this question: how long? Another year? Another month? Or another excuse? You woke up today with the same body, the same mind, and the same habits. If you did not act yesterday, the calendar won't magically make you act today. Marcus Aurelius wrote, ask yourself, whatever I am doing, is it essential? If your daily actions are not worthy for your limited life, no year would change you. I need to admit you something. For years, I had promised myself the things that I already know that I would break. I said them sincerely, late at night, after feeling disappointed in myself. I will start tomorrow. I will be consistent this time. Those promises were not lies, but they were excuses. They were escapes. They helped me sleep without changing anything. When I stepped into boxing, I did not feel motivated. I remember standing in front of the boxing bag for the first time, and it felt heavy than it should have been. I did not ask myself if I felt like boxing that day. It was Tuesday. I went there and started doing boxing, nevertheless, because the decision had been made earlier when I was calm. This is what people mean by systems. Not something impressive, but something boring enough to repeat. Bland promises would have failed me there, because they always did. A promise waits for the right mood, but a system assumes the mood would be wrong, and this is why it works. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison. The day he walked free mattered not because of the date, but because of who he had become. This is the only new year that matters, not when the calendar changes, but when you do. There is no challenge I can give you. That would be dishonest, because you already know what needs to be done. If I sat with you for a moment and asked you what you have been avoiding, you would not struggle to answer. You do not have 1,000 lives. You have one. Most people do not fail because they are lazy or broken. They fail because they keep postponing the same small actions. They read self improvement books, they watch motivational videos, they nod, they feel seen, and then they return to the same old habits, the same old activities. Not because it is good, but because it is easy. Stoicism does not offer hope the way people want hope. It says, you are responsible. I'm not asking you to change your life completely tonight. It is not possible. I want you to stop pretending that you do not know where you are doing mistakes, where it's leaking. Do the small things that you keep avoiding, the one you keep postponing because it feels insignificant. You do not need a new calendar or new identity. You need just one small action done quietly without an audience. If you do that today, you would feel no fireworks, no sudden confidence, just a small, unfamiliar calm. And if you do nothing, the time will move forward as it does. Your life is not defined by what you plan to do, but by what you repeatedly did. It is simply how things are. And now you already know what to do.